Good evening, Speedrun Ragnarok fans, and welcome back to our marathon for 2023 in support of Take This. I am Alicel. I'm going to be your host for the next couple of hours, and we are here for some Phantasy Star 4 Profound Distortion with Lady Ariana on the couch. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well, Alicel. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic and ready for some Phantasy Star.
Aren't we all? It's been quite a day, we'll just say it that way. Anyways, hello everybody, this is Phantasy Star 4 Profound Distortion. This is a randomizer. If you like free enterprise, but you want Sega, you come here. This is basically the best way I could describe it. The writers we have today, it says CC64, that is short for Commodore Canadian 64, a man whose name is so long it will not fit in that box. And we have Lynn Carius on the other seat. You may remember him from such games as Jurassic Park, that was also run earlier in this game, marathon. Wow, I can word today. It's been a day, everybody, hasn't it? You two have anything quick to say?
Good luck.
Good luck, have fun, and enjoy.
All right, so here's how we're going to do it. I'll explain things later, but I'm going to give a quick countdown from 5. So, Lynn, if you want to get to the start screen, that'd be lovely. And when you get to the start screen... All right, I'm going to count down from 5. On go, you both go. I'm going to mute you both because I am going to have some fun with this. I roll this seed. All right, counting down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's fantasy. Oh, go. All right, now that they can't hear me, welcome to Phantasy Star 4 Profound Distortion. Again, I'm Lady Ariana. I am actually the curator of this seed and creator of this randomizer. And thanks to your wonderful donations, we have everything set for today. So our team consists of all the girls in the game because that's the best way to describe. But to actually just play this is just with all the girls. So we got Demi. And I am not happy with Cat already. Putting Demi in the back? What? Actually, it's probably... That's something I'll explain later anyway. So we have Demi, Rika, Alice, Kira, and since there's only 4 girls in the party, we have Seth. We love Seth. A man whose mustache is so strong, you just make up your own pun at that point. So... the other options we actually have classes enabled. So unlike in Phantasy Star 4, all of these characters have different classes. So what they, like Kira, she was kind of a mage-ish character in the original. In this, she could be more physically oriented. She could be much more of a stronger healer. Seth could be a healer in this and actually have techniques. One special thing about this as well is that androids, so this means both Ren and Demi, if classes are enabled, androids can be healed by normal means. So that is something that they're going to have to keep in mind as well. And I do see that Commodore Canadian 64, I'm going to call him Cap. That's how I always known him. I still call him Cap. He gave himself a promotion for winning the Rune Open, which was our tournament last year. So he's no longer a captain, he's a Commodore, and he decided to add 64 to the end of it, because who doesn't love the Commodore 64? In all honesty, it's a great console. Get one if you can. So anyways, there's a bunch of checks that they're going to be going through, and the last fun thing about this that you all donated for was what mode of play that they're playing, and you all chose Wonder. So I wonder what Wonder does. Well, I also wonder what's in my Wonder Ball. Gosh darn it, I'm hungry now. I hate when I mention food like that. Anyways, Wonder basically means they don't know what their objectives are. So they have 8 things in this game that they need to do in order to open the final dungeon and go in to fight the Profound Darkness. Normally, you can actually just pull up your menu, and there's actually a little section that describes what the objectives are, and you can kind of pinpoint your way and make your way to that. That being said, you'll see a bunch of question marks in that spot. They don't know what their objectives are. However, when they do clear what they know would be an objective, they can check it again. If there's a question mark in red when they open that menu, that means they've cleared that objective. When all 8 of those objectives are red, they're good to go. So They don't know. It could be anything. We could actually get a 100% clear seed, despite not actually even having met that incentive. I am just that mean today because I rolled them a real wonderful seed. Because there are so many incentive options here, I decided to give them something spicy. We all love spice, don't we? Yes, absolutely. So normally, because I do compare this to Free Enterprise, I did that because originally when I made this, you could start with the hydrofoil. The hydrofoil is basically zoomy zooms. You can go anywhere in the world with it, minus a few places. But I said, you know what? For making me have to pre-roll 50 seeds for this, because they had all planned this out, and it's like, we need vetted seeds here. We're going to make Aerie do vet 50 of them. I said, you are walking. So I didn't give them the hydrofoil. I did give them the benefit of the Rappy Cap. So what's the Rappy Cap, might you ask? So it wasn't something that was in vanilla. It's actually, if anyone's ever familiar with Final Fantasy VI Vanilla or Worlds Collide, it's a Moogle charm. It's basically the Moogle charm. It's a helmet that I repurposed. I call it the Rappy Cap because, you know, Rappies are kind of like Moogles, except they're more like Chocobos, to be honest. They're just pudgier. Yeah, Beyond Chaos has it as well. Wait, did I say something completely different there, Margie? Yeah, that
Well,
one.
you mentioned Worlds Collide, but what about our wonderful Beyond Chaos,
I
where
forgot
everything is randomized?
I forgot there was a Beyond Chaos. You know, I actually have not played either one of those FF6 randomizers. I much prefer 5 is my favorite Final Fantasy of the SNES era. So I haven't actually had. I mean, besides, you've already seen everything that's gone on to this game here. I have spent like the last 4 years working on this randomizer. I haven't had much time to play anything else here. So Draves is going to roll me a Beyond Chaos seed.
That sounds like a threat.
It does sound like a threat. So Lynn is immediately going to Tono. Normally people don't like going to Tono because it is a little out of the way. There are 2 key objective checks. So a lot of places have an objective check. So there's like a chest or a boss that you have to face, or something you have to do in order to get that check on that. And Lynn just picked up the Alcidian, which is the ultimate sword in the game. Chaz gets it in the end of vanilla. However, we don't have Chaz in this party. So what does the Alcidian do? Well, it actually is the key to unlock the Anger Tower, which is a place that they may check out later. Everybody do a happy dance. This is the best music in the game. So shops are randomized. Abilities are not randomized. They're actually, they know, as long as they know what class they are, those are actually set. So they do have that. Looks like Cap was going, actually, I did not see if he actually got through the Desert Leaf. So bosses are randomized. They do keep the same stats as what that spot would be in vanilla. So that can get pretty spicy here and there for that. What's Captain coming up with right now? He's got the Valhalla key. So it doesn't do him any good right now. The Valhalla key is an item that was added in to unlock Valhalla 4. But you also need the hydrofoil to get there, and that is what these 2 are going to be checking. They're doing some easy checks right now, and I say easy very loosely because, again, I'm making them walk. But
now, as somebody who's never played Phantasy Star 4, why are there Ewoks?
Well, the reason being is this blatantly rips off Star Wars in certain aspects, Cap with the right cross ring, which is going to be a very handy piece of equipment for Demi. So the right cross ring actually nullifies lightning damage. Well, not nullifies, excuse me. It reduces lightning damage, and androids in this game take 1.5 times damage to lightning. So it's very easy they can get one shot by lightning attacks later in the game. I'm sure that Cap is probably going to give that to Demi to protect her. Why are there Ewoks? Yes, so that's been something that's been around since the beginning. Those are actually known as Metavians. So a little bit of lore behind Phantasy Star. It takes place in a galaxy, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 4. I know the lore, trust me. Take place in a solar system with 3 planets. Palma, which is a bit of a green planet. Metavia, which is what you're mostly seeing them walk on right now, a desert planet. Dazorus is the ice planet. In the second game, spoilers, Palma gets blown up. It goes boom. And so we're left with 2. However, in 4, we find out there's a 4th planet, so we're back to 3 again, and we're going to be seeing that 3rd planet fairly soon when they start doing their free checks. There's a lot of space travel, but Matavians are the indigenous people of Matavia, and that's why. And I don't know why they look like Ewoks. If we had a party with Grizz is actually a Matavian, and I love Grizz. He's one of my favorite characters, but I love Demi more. So, and I used to like Demi Moore movies, but segue into that. So another thing that you may have noticed, there's a spaceship already. Normally you have to get through the first major boss of the game in order to unlock spaceship. Well, I'm nice. I'm giving you space travel right off the bat, and immediately go into Silence Temple. So Silence Temple is an end game area. This area itself, no encounters, nothing you have to worry about anyway. However, they also have Rappy Cap, so they shouldn't have to worry about that anyway. But get some free equipment here. There is a key item check, and it looks like it was an Algo rank, which is a strong helmet, increases all your stats. Doesn't give you any elemental resistances like the others. So we see Cap here. Basically, this is what we call a spacewalk. Once you get to the space station, you go through the free checks at this point. Silence Temple, Zealand, and probably going to go to Distortion and do Hangar as well. But while we're having a lot of walking and a lot of checking for items, Alicel, do you have anything you'd like to add today?
Well, we have a $2 donation from Margaret Ann, a man whose mustache is so strong it will drill for oil, refine it into kerosene, swindle triple railroad owners, and instill himself as the principal distributor of light until the advent of electricity at the beginning of the 1880s. That strong?
That's very strong. I never thought Seth's mustache was that strong, but can you believe it? I sure can. So Seth's kind of a meme. He's kind of a meme but lovable character of Rando and kind of in Phantasy Star 4 in general. So the lore behind him a little bit is you meet him towards the end of the game. He joins your party, and then when you get to the top of Soldier's Island, he transforms into Dark Force, and you have to fight him. So there's kind of a split in theory. It's like, well, he was Dark Force all along, and the other part is like, no, he was possessed by Dark Force. He was just a nice guy trying to help out, and he was possessed, and you end up murdering this nice guy just trying to help you out. So yeah, kind of like that. So now we see Lynn go into the basement and Eclipse Torch. So what I did see that Captain picked up, the person in Zealand was actually Grizz. So we actually did get to see our Ewok. So there are certain characters and spots where the rights are randomized based on party members that are not in your parties. It's just a little something I like to do. And Grizz gave the Photon Eraser. So the Photon Eraser is Demi's ultimate weapon. And we're going to be seeing weapons and elements come into play in some of these later bosses. One thing I also did give to everybody, and if I really wanted to be spicy, I would have taken this away. This randomizer, you can save anywhere. Inside dungeon, outside dungeon, on top of Old Smoky, whatever. You can save there. And it's all cool. I do notice that Lynn has basically got no equipment, because what he likes to do at the beginning of his runs is sell all of the garbage equipment that you start. And he's taking on the Desert Leech. So Desert Leech here does have can actually be insta-killed by Death Spell, but at level 1 it has a really low chance of hitting at this point. It's only got about 300 HP, so it's not too difficult, but it does have some mean attacks, especially Sandstorm, which you can't see. That was a nice amount of damage, but not nice that Rika went down. Sorry, Rika. And now Death Spell hits. Thank you, Seth. Thank you. So that's enough experience probably to get everybody level 4 at this point, and the item inside of there was a Snow Crown. So while not in vanilla Phantasy Star 4, Snow Crown is a all-over from Phantasy Star 2 that I added in that basically casts the ban on the entire party. There are some what we call buff items in the game that you can use to raise the stats of your characters in battle, and it's very vital, especially towards the end game, that you have some of these buffs. If you don't have the buff abilities, which the abilities themselves end up always being stronger. If you don't have them, use the items. They're reusable. It's not going to hurt you to use them. As equipment, they're actually pretty good. So you definitely want to keep up your defense buffs. Your agility buffs are actually extremely important in this game. And magic defense is extremely important as well. But yeah, you definitely want to... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, there was something called what, and I had to respond.
Oh, yeah, that's a common response. So what is actually the what is the ice ability in this game? And so here's one thing I also added into this. If you've noticed some of the technique names in this, if you're just looking at them, you look at them like, what's foy? What's what? What is what? Exactly. What is all this? So being the nice girl that I am, I made it so that there's actually an option within the randomizer itself that it will change all of those names of abilities to be something more common. So the ability of Foy becomes Fire because it's the fire spell. So any newcomer to the Phantasy Star series, if they've never played a Phantasy Star game before, can feel more at home and at least understand this a little bit easier, because one gatekeepy thing that kind of, I don't want to call it gatekeepy, but it's one of those things that kind of turn people off from it, is that without a instruction manual, understanding what some of these things do is a little bit more complicated to do. I left them with their default because both of these players know the game very well and are able to do this. So, but if you are new to it and you want to give that a try, but you don't want to have the bad ability names, as you would call it, then you can toggle that on. And there's also one for items as well to make it so that it follows a bit more linear progression. Because the strongest metal in this game is Laconia. If you're first playing this, what's Laconia? How strong is that exactly? So there's a lot of quality of life things I tried to add in here to make it simpler for the end user to do. But what we have here with both of these runners were top 4 within the Rune Open, which was our tournament. We held it last year. We're going to hold another tournament soon. It's just things have been so busy, which I'm calling it the Rappy Cup in honor of the Rappy Cap. I'm original, aren't I?
I mean, randomizer fans either love or hate puns.
Yeah, puns. I don't know anybody. I can't think of anybody who would want to do puns. But if you would want to do puns, I suggest donating, and we'll have your puns read. What do you think, Alicel?
Why would you do this to me?
Because I told you we're gonna have some fun tonight. Margie's like, me either. I don't know anybody who would want to. But right now, everybody is going through their basic loops right now. So both of them are checking out Tono, and little do they know, there really isn't anything important in Tono except the Valhalla key. Well, the Valhalla key was in Valley Maze. I get these places confused all the time myself because I've only played this game a million times. But, yeah, they both know that I gave them something evil, and so they're both thinking that I probably put the ice digger or the hydrofoil. They want a vehicle. They don't like walking, and so they're going through this. And is Lynn go? Oh, Lynn's being extra spicy right now. Lynn is going to Anger Tower at level 7. That is super spicy. Anger Tower is like a level 30 area, and it's good experience if you can get the kill. It's a minor boss here, which I can explain that as well momentarily. It's a minor boss, which means that it can be insta-killed. Possibly, there are many minor bosses that cannot be insta-killed, so I think he's relying on Seth to be able to one-shot this. He's got some decent equipment, but level 6 and level 1. Lynn's got some guts. I'm not gonna lie here, this is a very, very gutsy play. And it's going to depend on what's there, and thankfully for me, because I got the cheat sheet out, I know what's there, and I'm grinning. Actually, it's not that bad to be honest. It's a fan bite. It's just a grasshopper basically. But this is still a very spicy move. However, fan bite does have an AoE attack, as we see, and yeah, that can happen. So because the enemy's AI is randomized in this, that could be its only move. And oh, Lynn, I love you, bro. I love you. But so, enemies all, or how their AI works is they each have. Oh, he did get the kill. So Kira went down this time, but it's still a big spicy reward. That's going to be still a huge XP boost. Every enemy in the game actually has 8 slots in which they can have an attack. So their normal attacks, a spell, anything like that could fit into them. The game will call up RNG. It'll pick one of those 8 for that turn and move on. The next turn, it'll take one of the remaining 7. So it won't do the same thing twice in a row unless you've got multiple copies in there. So where that boss had Spiral Blade, if it had 2 copies of Spiral Blade within its 8, it could have done it twice in a row, but it wouldn't have done it from that same slot again. So, I think Lynn is very happy, though, that he realized that Anger Tower was actually one of the hidden objectives, so he's very happy with that risk. Unfortunately, Kira did die. Rika did make up a little bit of experience for that, but still all working out great, and it looks like Cap is doing what's known as slug grinding. So this is actually a vanilla strat as well. And I know Cap's also kind of cursing me right now because I didn't give them an item called the Call Flute. So what the Call Flute is, think of it like the Final Fantasy for Alarm. You basically just instantly call a battle. Call Flute has it doesn't break on use. It's actually similar to the Call Flute from Phantasy Star Gaiden, which is the Game Boy Game Gear game. I can get my companies right. And so, yeah, it's very similar to that. The only reason is because I couldn't figure out how to make the item break after use, so I just made it expensive. Before the age of the Rappy Cap, the Call Flute was the way to get encounters, because before then, you would actually have to choose on randomization whether you wanted to have encounters in the game or not. And this was something that stumped me forever, was I wanted to make a toggle like in Free Enterprise so that the users could choose when they want to have encounters or not. And I couldn't get it to work. I couldn't figure it out. There was no menu space. The coding in this game is so compressed that it makes it ridiculously hard to add new things to it. And so I was at RPG Limit Break this year, and I was watching Silverfire and Demarine run. I was going to say Worlds Collide, but I don't know if it was Worlds Collide or Beyond Chaos. Now I'm confused.
It was Worlds Collide. I can assure you it was Worlds Collide.
It was Worlds Collide. Okay, thank you, Alice. So they were playing that, and Sil was showing me the Moogle Charm. And I'm like, it's because it's been forever since I played FF6. And I'm like, wait a second, is Moogle Charm like a flat, like no encounter when it's equipped? Or is it like reduce encounter rate? And they told me just to get rid of the encounters. Like, oh my god, this is genius. So I immediately, when I got back from Limit Break, I got on Visual Studio, I programmed the Rappy Cap. A couple hiccups here and there, and now I now have an item that will toggle encounters. I'm like, this is the thing I wanted since the very beginning. And so I was very happy with that. And so now, in order for them to get their encounters, why you see them trying to walk around to get encounters without the Rappy Cap on. It used to be they would just use the Call Flute and get the encounter, and it was a lot quicker that way. Now it's now they make them suffer a little bit. So they're fighting specters now. So this is a bit of a challenge here. The damage, or Lynn's taking a lot less damage than Cap is, but Kira is definitely still seeing better days. Please heal Kira. We love Kira. Kira's one of my favorite. I always say Demi is the 4th best girl in the game. I love all of them. I'm a big Alice fan. I don't know about you. I think Rujasu's also a big Alice fan, but
That would make sense.
That would make sense. At least I think so. But anyways, while they're both banging their heads on this... Oh, actually, Cap decided to go to Rycross at this point. While we're just fighting some bosses, anything else you'd like to add, Alyso?
Well, speaking of Alice, we have a $20 donation from Alice Rajasu, our previous host. Happy to see this excellent Phantasy Star 4 randomizer, happy to hear Aries' excellent commentary, and happy to see my fellow Alice featured in a run. Best of luck to the runners, and a big thanks to everyone who has been helping to put on this great show all week. And real quick, I'm actually going to talk about our incentives that we have opened up at the beginning of this round for Let's Tap It. We have the category select, which can either be a third person or first person, or for $175, you can upgrade to Tap Runner 100%.
Tap Runner 100%. We always love 100%, don't we?
I
And the
mean,
way-
the viewers do.
Yes, personally I do too. At least when I, make people play a seed that ends up being 100%. So Commodore Canadian 64 is now running into Fanbite and running into the same issue that Lynn did with just constant spiral blades. And the thing is, Cap knows that this could be insta-killed, and is going to keep going until he gets a single target. He's going to basically see that one get sacrificed, but unfortunately, Spiral Blade kind of melts through everybody. Unfortunately. And Lynn's going over to Mile and setting up some macros. So one wonderful thing about Phantasy Star 4 is what's known as the macro system. And that is you could set up what you want your party to do ahead of time, and they will do it in that order. Any enemy attacks will go in between, of course, because agility is factored into everything. But it allows you to set up combination attacks. It allows you to set up just reactions. Like, hi, Kira. You definitely did not want that. Having the ooze there isn't too bad. They shouldn't have any issue with ooze at this point. And Cap finally getting through the fan bite. That is one mean bug. And getting that big... And it was, of course, it was Kira also that died on this one. Why is there no love for Kira here?
Yeah, Kira has definitely taken a beating this seed.
Yeah, Kira is her class for this game is Conjurer, so it's basically straight magical damage, and that's why she's. I thought for a second she was using Candle, but no, that was a Thunder Slasher item that was using that. Should have only Jeff. I am going to come through this screen right now. No, we love Demi here. This is Team Demi. How many times am I going to remind you of that? Nobody wants to fight me today. Trust me on that. So
I'll help fight. I like fighting.
So, all right, we're gonna team up together, and we're gonna win. We're gonna win the titles, right? We're gonna make a title run.
I mean, I fight dirty.
Perfect. We'll be a good heel team then. Cap isn't here to say, what are you talking about? He's right there. We just can't hear him. What a fight with art. Oh goodness. Speaking of art, LSL.
Yes. What are we fighting about, Art?
I don't know. I was gonna say, is there any specific prizes that we would like to talk about today?
Probably. Give me just a few minutes to get back over to that tab.
I forgot that I had to go to a different tab for that. I was trying to give you some time. And yes. Leave me hanging. No, we're good. So, thank you, Margie, for the prizes link. So,
Thanks, Margie.
we love you, Margie. So, anyway, while you're getting that, we now have Cap going for the ooze. So this ooze actually cannot be insta-killed. There are oozes in the game that can be, but this is the same one as the boss from the fissure. As you can see, Cap threw up a few buffs there, and is going to be taking like 0 damage. So at this point, it's just a matter of getting the boss down. It should take a little bit of time, but he does have enough weapons, enough damage to be able to just take it out. You got the I was gonna say, you got the photon eraser on Demi. She hits like a truck with it. Come on, you know better than this. I'm just taunting these two a lot, especially Cap, because Cap actually, when he won the tournament, the Rune Open, he actually went undefeated in it, and he never let anybody forget that. And then we had like a grudge match and I beat him, so Anyways, LSL, I'm gonna hand it to you for a second. I need a drink.
Yes, prizes. We have some fantastic prizes today, including one that seems to be painted by someone in this booth.
You painted one for us? Oh, that's so awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Oh, yes, me painting. Ha, that's funny. But no, we have a limited edition Psychomancer pin that donated by Take This. We have a Hollow Knight vinyl decal donated by Waffle Crone. We have a VVVVVVV string key. I have no idea if that's how you say that, but that was from Margaret Ann. And we have a Dragon Quest framed oil painting by Lady Ariana.
Oh yeah, I forgot I donated. Actually, no, I didn't forget I donated it. It's hanging on my wall just right outside the office until I have to send it off. I painted that like 5 years ago. I forgot I had painted it until I actually moved in with my girlfriend. It's like, oh hi, I remember you. Hey, we got Dragon Quest run going. I'm gonna donate it. Perfect timing. Oh, by the way, Dumpster Player 2 just entered chat. We always blame bad seeds on Dumpster, so everyone can thank Dumpster for this seed. Dumpster Player is also one of our top players in this community, and it's been a joy to have. I do love the Phantasy Star 4 Profound Distortion community. Definitely always looking to grow it. Everybody in there is wonderful. You're not only a bad player, a bad roller. But yes, everybody is always more than happy to help learn this game. You also may have noticed that we have a boss called Dark Balls here. This actually is and ignore the graphical glitch on the side. We call him Clarence. He's a welcome tendril here. Kind of had to change the name on that one because it was something else, but this particular boss is actually the kind of an updated version of the final boss from Phantasy Star 1. There's a lot of throwbacks in this game, and I said, you know what, there's not enough, I'm gonna do more. So a lot of the item names, a lot of things that I changed. The Paul Flute, for instance, was a throwback. There's another item that's going to be coming up, which you may have seen them get already, called an Amber Eye. The Amber Eye was a tradable item in the first Phantasy Star. That wasn't in the fourth one. It is now. You trade it for the best equipment. And Lynn is going to be happy. He's got the Ice Digger. We have a vehicle, everybody. Lynn is, I am sure, extremely happy with getting a vehicle. He's probably going to go right to the Zolish right now and use the Ice Digger, which that unlocks a whole, basically most of that world. Yeah, this boss doesn't normally appear in the game.
Dig.
But the thing is, it also goes over quicksand, which, who knew, right? So he's gonna actually, looks like he's gonna explore the rest of Matavia right now and see what's out here. Monson Fissure is a good spot to go because the boss there does have some really good experience. It looks like, oh, he does have a Call Flute as well, so you can see he just used the Call Flute. Is he trying to dig out some worms, I'm wondering? No, he wasn't going for the worms. He was going for, I don't know what he's trying. Oh, he's going for Fan Bite. Okay, so this is one thing that you can exploit with randomized bosses. So this Fan Bite is because the way enemies work, they all are hard-coded in the same way. So there's only one technical copy of this, but if it is a boss or an enemy that appears normally in the overworld, it's going to carry over those stats, and that also means its experience. So what Lynn is hoping to do is find a Fan Bite through the Call Flute, kill it in the wild, and get massive amounts of experience. And that is what he's trying to do. However, it is an Anger Tower boss, so the amount of damage it's going to do is really, really high. And it looks like Cap's going to be going to into Nervous as well. He's got the Psycho Wand, which was the first item they got. And once you have that, you can actually get through, enter this dungeon, and complete it. So he's going to be very happy with that Ice Digger once he gets it. Here's a solo fan bite. So it doesn't have a lot of... Oh, he got the kill on it. So that's some nice beefy experience that he's going to get. And that's one way you can grind in this game, is if you know that a boss was a normal enemy in vanilla, and you know where that enemy spawns, you can get through. And Dumpster making a good point. Yeah, might need a ban before that. They do have snow crowns. I haven't seen the ban yet, but I also know there should be, because we do have a cleric. We have a lot of healer classes in this. So Rika does have the ban. Rika's druid, so she does have that ability. And looks like Lynn is now going towards the fissure boss, which is a life deleter. Life deleters can be killed instantly, which you see right there through explode. There's a lot of nuances that go into elements in this game, and even instant death abilities, there are 4 different types of death, and every enemy has weaknesses to some, but not others. Like Death Spell is technically considered a biological death. It's not going to do anything against machines. And another instant death one called Spark, it's a mechanical death. It's not going to do anything to anything that's living. Then you have Explode, which is what's known as Destruction, and if you're going to be hitting an instant death ability, you're probably going to want something that's of a destructive ability. And you can see that Lynn is trading in an Amber Eye for what's known as a Guard Robe. So the Guard equipment in this game is the strongest defensive items in this game. And when you get an Amber Eye, you can trade it for any piece that you need, as long as you know where the pieces are. So that particular girl in that church will trade in the Amber Eye for a Guard Robe. Now, Lynn ignored the dog, and I'm sad about that. So there is a dog over in Monson before the fissure. Its name is Rocky. It's actually an NPC for a quest in vanilla, but in this, if you have an Amber Eye and you pet the dog, he will give you the Guard armor, which is the android's strongest armor. I am disappointed in Lynn for not doing that. Instead went for a Guard Robe, but, I guess Kira needs a little bit more defense than Demi right now.
Kira has died in like every fight.
And I'm sad about that. It's like Kira in vanilla speedrun. Kira is actually used as the 5th character in like there's not a lot of instances where you don't want Kira as your final party member in Phantasy Star 4 for speedrunning purposes anyway. Unless you're trying to do like a weird setup with Raja or Grizz or something like that. But Kira is basically going to be your go-to because she got some pretty good defense. She can heal really well normally, and her speed's not half bad as compared to Raja or Han. But here, she's a conjurer, so her stats are actually a little bit lower than they were in vanilla. And everybody here actually has fairly weak stats, except for Seth, who's a Reaper, who that particular class has a bunch of instant death attacks. And they do have a little bit stronger strength, a little bit better agility, and now Cap is now very happy with having that Ice Digger. Cap's got 3 objectives down. Anger Tower and Hangar and Wreckage. Doesn't know where those last ones are. Lynn finally going to Wreckage. That's usually like one of the first stops in the game. At least as far as loops go. And it looks like Cap is now going to be making his loop off to the right side. Probably going to hit the fissure as well. While they're exploring, Alicel, do we have anything? Do we have any donations?
We do. We have a $5 donation from trainer Anadur. Yes, thank you. I can speak today. I'm a great host.
Yay, words.
And the comment is, yay, heart.
Yay, heart. But what about Earth, Fire, Wind, and Water? We can't have Captain Planet without those. Nobody get my reference. Please
I
tell
got-
me I'm not old.
That I can't help you with, but I did get
I'm
the
old.
reference.
Okay. Phew. You got the reference. We're good. I'm not old. I swear I'm not old. so Lynn going to Ladea Tower. Normally this is where you would get the Cycle 1 and Vanilla, meet up with Rune again. Well, none of that's happening here. We do have to go to the top and get a treasure chest. Okay, Captain automatically wins. He did pet the dog. He pet the dog, got the guard armor. That's an automatic win in my book. We can close this down now. Bye, everybody. Badoo.
Bork, bork. Dog has been
You?
pet.
Okay, I had to make Discord noises so that everyone would think I actually left. Did it work? Did I fool everybody? No? Oh. I can't win today, can I? You know what? I'm gonna have more drink. You do your thing, Alicel.
So we talked a little bit about prizes earlier, and while I figure out where I put that tab that I just had open, there it is. I have so many things open right now. It's fantastic. We have some great grand prizes for the whole week. We have a Transrite custom Game Boy Advance made by the Casual Geek Dave. It has a lovely light blue body with wonderful light pink buttons. It looks so cool. And it's USB-C rechargeable. It looks fantastic, y'all. You definitely want to get in on this.
Yeah, Dave put in a ton of work on that. I remember seeing him post on Twitter about that as well, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could be eligible for that. But everyone in chat, I better start seeing some trans rights because we have an awesome prize, and trans rights just in general. Prize or no prize, trans rights.
Trans rights, y'all.
So we actually, both of them are now at the top of Ladea Tower. And I wouldn't say this next fight's a little bit spicy. I love this fight. This is Lashik. Normally in the air castle, the Ladea Tower stats are a bit lower, so Lashik's probably not going to be nearly as dangerous here, and it should be still a fairly quick kill. Both of them leading off with possession, so that's a 1 in 8 chance normally. But with randomized AI, who knows what'll happen here. All 8 slots could have possession. Spoke too soon. Thunder Halberd, but they're buffed up pretty well, and it's a Ladea Tower, so it's not going to hurt a whole lot. Lashik is the final boss of Phantasy Star 1. Penultimate boss of Phantasy Star 1. And he's come back from the dead. Ooh, spooky. We just had Halloween. Very weak to fire, and also very weak to light elemental, which all ultimate weapons in this game are actually been refitted to be light elemental. So originally in vanilla, only the Cycle 1, the Silver Tusk, and the Alcidian were light elemental. What light elemental weapons do is that there are no enemies in the game that are actually strong against it. So every enemy takes full damage as long as you have a light elemental weapon equipped. There are a ton of enemies that are actually weak or very weak to it, so they'll take 1.5 times or 2 times damage based on how weak they are to it. But I wanted to be fair, so I basically refitted it so that everybody's ultimate weapon actually has that element attached to it. So Photon Eraser is now light elemental rather than laser, so on and so forth. So both of them got through rather easily. However, I believe they are both going to be disappointed that the Ladea Tower was not an objective. Ah, shame. I told you I was going to be spicy. This is what you get for making me roll 50. I vetted almost 800 seeds for this one, and I told them, I said, 1, you're walking, 2, I'm making this spicy for you too. So they do have the Ice Digger now, so they do have vehicles, plus they could do vehicle battles if they wanted. They could take off their Rappy Cap and just get into a battle on there. Vehicle battles benefit from every vehicle has its own stat pool. So you're actually not using your character stat pool, but your characters will get the experience when you win a battle. So the vehicles have HP, they have their own defense, they have their own attack, they have their own attacks. So, and the Ice Digger actually has an instant death ability. So if they wanted to, they could take off the Rappy Cap, drive around in that, not have anybody die as long as they didn't die, because if you lose all HP on the vehicle, it's game over. But that is the common strategy if you have a vehicle early as well, is just get into an encounter. And, and Lynn got misfailed. Lynn, you better pet a cat. Thank you. Okay, so Lynn redeemed himself a little bit. We're petting cats here. So what I said when it got misveiled, and there's the arrow prism. There's a term that we've affectionately called misveiled. So this is one door. When you go up, you actually come down. And, when you go up in a door, your instinct is to keep holding up. Well, if you hold up there, you're going back through that door. Okay, cat's petting. I believe that's the neon cat. I don't remember if that's the neon cat or not. It's been so long. Neon Gray had a cat that they kept petting, and we just called it the neon cat. I wish I remember what it was, though. They have unknown objectives. Unknown to everybody but me. Ha ha. I do know what objectives they have. And so it looks like they're both following the same path right now. They both went to Mistvale. They both got the Arrow Prism. The Arrow Prism lets them go to the Air Castle. In Vanilla, you would get the Arrow Prism, and it would point the way to Rycross, and you would advance that way. In here, I gave it more of a purpose similar to Phantasy Star 1, where it lit the way to the Air Castle. But, after 2,000 years, things tend to get stronger or weaker. I hope I get stronger in 2,000 years. So, basically, you can use the Arrow Prism from any overworld point, and it'll warp you to the Air Castle. Fingers crossed, because there is a bug that I have not figured out even since 1.0, that sometimes the game will just take like 2 minutes to load the Air Castle, and sometimes it'll take 2 seconds, and I haven't figured out why it does that, but it always goes 2 seconds after a reload. So if you actually see them save and then quit, or save, exit the game, and re-enter it, that's probably what they're doing. They're going to the Air Castle. Only if you listen to Billy Joel for those 2,000 years. Is that going to make me weaker, or is that going to make me stronger after the 2,000 years?
You'll be stronger after 2,000 years.
But how many times am I going to have to listen to We Didn't Start the Fire?
Well, no, you just listen to the River of Dreams album.
Okay, I wish I knew what was on that album. I think I know like 1 or 2 songs from Billy Joel, as long as it's not Piano Man. I've heard that enough in my life. I love it, but it's like it's one of those songs you just hear so much.
Yeah, no, one of the songs is named 2,000 Years.
Oh, I get the reference now.
I make very obscure references.
And you're awesome for that. I wish I could get happy. I'm old, but it's like I should know that one. I feel anyway.
I got that album when I was 5. It's probably not appropriate for a 5-year-old.
Billy Joel. Hey, it beats the albums I got as a kid, because I think I was allowed 2 albums as a kid. One of them was James Taylor's Greatest Hits.
Everybody owns James Taylor's Greatest Hits.
Yeah, I think James Taylor was giving them away at like a Kiss concert or something. I don't know, but the other one I think was the Bee Gees' One Night Only. I know more Bee Gees than I probably should. I don't like that fact. I'm sorry. So, alright, so Lynn has the idea that I may have told him to go to Garbage Tower. I didn't tell him anything, but he knows how evil I am. This is Garbage Tower. So, we were talking about this in chat. Garubik Tower, affectionately called by everybody Garbage Tower. And it is a flesh dungeon. It mysteriously appeared in Dezoris overnight, and yeah. So Cat finding out there is nothing in the Sacred Sword Cave. There's a color scarf. Actually raises dexterity for the party. Not bad. However, there is no war in Ba Sing Se, and there is no objective in the Esper Mansion. So sorry. As Cat goes through. So we call it Garbage Tower. Normally, the enemies are... The encounter rate's really high here. The enemies are strong. Nobody likes going through here. It's a long dungeon. And so it's called Garbage Tower. So Cap's continuing the loop of the Zolish right now, purposely avoiding Garbage Tower. So you actually need 2 items to get there. There's the plate key, so that opens up the plate system on Matavia, so you'd have to backtrack in order to get there, but it does open up a dungeon to him. You need 2 items to get into the garbage tower. First, you need the ice digger, which we saw that they both got nervous, and you need the eclipse torch, which, if I recall correctly, where was the eclipse torch? I'll pull up it on my menu. I mean, my cheat log. I think the same thing, right? I know, I saw it. Torch. Where was the torch? Ah, in the hangar. So it was like one of the early items you could get. So I basically told him, it's like, hey, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to give you everything that you want to ever go to Garbage Tower. I know you love it. So while it looks like Cap's going to Weapon Plant at this point and seeing there's one chest in here that is a key item. Hopefully he'll find something nice there. While they're both just exploring right now, Alisal, is there any updates that we have today?
Sorry, I was shoving food in my mouth, because of course I was. So, we have some runs coming up later tonight. We do still have some Gardic phone with shenanigans percent with some of the Valks. Shenanigans with y'all? I can't believe
that's
it.
Not us. That's not us. We're Angel, all of us.
Then after that, we have some more VVVVVVV. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but that's how I'm now pronouncing it for the rest of time.
That's
And
a
then-
lot of V's.
And then for the last run of the night, we do have Live Alive. And that'll be it for tonight until tomorrow. We do still have one more day of the marathon, so definitely put it on your schedule and come out for our last night.
It's gonna guarantee to be fun. There's a lot of good games on there I'm waiting to see, and especially our finale with Falcon Dives. Basically, Final Fantasy IV Pixel Remasters Free Enterprise. I am really looking forward to that one as well. So you all definitely want to stay tuned for that. So Lynn right now is taking on Zeo's. So there are 2 ways that you can actually defeat Zeo. Zeo will always 100% of the time cast Magic Barrier. What does that do? Programmatically, nothing. However, in the game, it's supposed to give the aura that that boss cannot be damaged. It's a bit more technical, but basically you need to remove that barrier in order to do something. So there are 2 ways to do it. You can use the Psycho Wand, or if you don't have the Psycho Wand in Randomizer, I was nice. There's an item called the Crystal. Another throwback name to Phantasy Star 1, where you would need the Crystal in order to defeat Lashik. You can use the Crystal. It's a one-time cancel, and it basically removes the magic barrier, and you're free to attack Zeo. So Zeo's stats are a bit stronger here because Garubik Tower does have a stronger boss here normally. So, however, it shouldn't be that much a challenge. He's weak to light, and we do have the Photon Eraser still, and you just saw his attack there just completely miss Seth. So, and the dexterity stat in this spot is actually really low. So physical attacks won't hit if dexterity is low. It basically takes the dexterity of the attacker and compares it to the agility of the defender. So if you actually raise your agility, which is a very important stat in this game, if you raise your agility, you can most likely dodge a lot of attacks in Randomizer if you know what the dexterity stat is and if that monster is just going to be doing normal attacks. There's a lot of nuances to it here and there, and Zeo's down, and I think Lynn is going to be not so much happy with the item, but he is happy that the Garubik Tower was an objective, and we're seeing Cap is following suit. So they're basically at this point, believe it or not, they're pretty neck and neck, and this is nothing less than I expected from these 2. They both have, you can see they both have the same amount of items. Cap didn't tick off the Ice Digger, but he does have it because there's no way he would be here without it. They both have the Prism, they both have the Sword, the Wand, and the Plate Key right now, as well as 3 rings, and it looks like they both have a couple of Amber Eyes that they have used up. So, they are neck and neck, and again, this is exactly what I would be expecting from 2 runners of this caliber. And all in all, they are going to see how far they can go without needing the Hydrofoil. Now, the Hydrofoil moves a lot faster than the Ice Digger and can go over water, which is why originally when I made this randomizer, I gave it to them by default because it's like, hey, in free enterprise, you get the enterprise for free. That's kind of a given. I want to be so nice to everybody and give them basically our airship equivalent for free. And then I said, you know what? Let's make it optional. And so I made it optional. And after they told me they were doing this, I said, you're walking. And I did not give it to them to start the seed. Aren't I nice? I'm very benevolent. That's the word I wanted to use. I was combining benevolent and malevolent at the same time.
If I had to vet 800 seeds, I would also be very malevolent.
It would have been so bad too if this week hadn't just been rough. It had nothing to do with Speedrun Ragnarok. It's been a joy to work with Valkyries and do everything here. It's just with everything in life that's gone on with me. I'm like, I definitely will need. I'm gonna sleep for a month after all of this is said and done, and after I get a day off from work and everything else. So, Lynn basically at this point is finishing up the Zola. So after Cap gets done with Zeo here, and after Lynn finishes up his sweep of Gumbia's Temple and Weapon Plant, both of them are going to be done with the Zolas. They won't need to come back for anything unless they want to get a guard suit for Seth, which the tavern owner and Ryun has that for exchange for an Amber Eye. So they're both very much almost done with the Zolas itself. There's still quite a few checks that they do have. They both have air castles still open to them, but neither of them have a prism yet. I don't believe. They both don't have it marked off, but they do have it because the arrow prism was the item in Mistveil. So they're being lazy and not marking it. I'm gonna get them on that one later.
Tracking's hard, y'all.
Tracking is hard, and this tracker that they're using right now is just the item tracker on the emo tracker that Commodore Canadian 64 actually made. I had a JavaScript one that I used for a while, and that I used and provide with the randomizer, and eventually we're going to try and get to some auto tracking and stuff like that. I just need to stop being lazy myself and actually give Cap some data and some address values so that we can auto track. But MTI, you're wonderful. Demi and Rika are best. Also, Kira and Alice are also best because all the girls in this game are cute and they're like tough. That is one thing I loved about Reiko Kodama. The mother of Phantasy Star, as widely regarded, is that when she designed a lot of the female characters, which is also why Phantasy Star 1, the main character, is female. One of the first game RPGs, one of probably the first games where the lead character, the main protagonist, was female and was a sword wielder and just was so. She's Alice Landale from Phantasy Star 1. My favorite character of all time. If anyone watched the Final Fantasy XIV run that we all did yesterday, if they had a chance to look at my glam, I actually made my glam to resemble Alice Landale. And I'm a nerd like that because I love the Phantasy Star series. But Alice was always a character that I admired and really was probably ahead of her time a little bit as far as women or female representation in video games, especially in the 80s when your big warriors were big beefy guys and things like that. That was kind of the stereotype at the time. Alice was a breath of fresh air, and oh my god, Dark Force 1 is on fire today. So this is Strength Tower, where Lynn is at right now, and he's facing Dark Force 1. And because of randomized abilities, while that normally looks like Burst Rock, that was a normal attack, and normal attack scale with attack power. And Anger Tower has one of the highest attack stats in the game, so this is actually a particularly dangerous boss here. It looks like, so both of them are done with the Zolas now. They're diverging a little bit. Looks like CC is going to Curran, which is where Dark Force 1 normally is, so we have a bit of a crossover here. Does Zeo not use cutscene bullet in this one? The Void? No. That is there's actually 3 Zeos coded into this game, and the one you're talking about, the cutscene bullet one, is considered Zeo 1. He's actually not in Randomizer. Still technically within the code, but I don't use him at all. Zeo 2 is the one you actually fight in Nervous until you use the Psycho Wand, which is why I was saying mechanically it's a bit more complicated than just a barrier, because the barrier does nothing itself. Once you use the Psycho Wand on Zeo, he turns into Zeo 3, which has not low enough stats and everything for you to actually deal damage to him. So Lynn's still taking quite a bit. He does have enough healers, though. He's got, I believe, 2 or 3 healer classes in this. He's got a Nurse Demi, Cleric Alice. Okay, so he's got 2. However, DF1 is not messing around. And it looks like the triplets are in Zealand. So this is actually a good spot for the triplets to be. Anyone who has ever played original knows that the triplets here are the guardians of the air castle before you actually go and defeat Lasik or Lashik. Their mechanic basically is if you hit them with an AoE attack, then they're going to counter with Thunder Blast. So even in randomized AI, that's actually still a reaction command. So you're going to see that that's all they're going to do. The reason this is a safe spot is that Zealand actually has a 1 in the mental stat, and every attack that the triplets do scales with mental. So you can see anything they're going to do is just going to deal 1 damage. So at this point, Cap's fine. It's just a matter of just dealing the damage at this point. Which, once it gets down to 2 of them, then they're going to start doing their own thing. But again, this is not a dangerous battle at all at this point. And Lynn looks like he finally took down Dark Force 1. Which that was not an easy battle. Strength Tower is generally considered the easier of the 2 towers on Rycross. Well, 3 towers technically on Rycross. Yes, Dark Force 1 has a 1 mental in vanilla. However, none of his attacks scale with mental, so it's not needed. But that also means that his magic defense ends up suffering a little bit because of it. Actually, no, that's only for... See, I've done so much with this, I don't know what's what anymore. Yeah, it basically just means that none of his attacks scale with his mental, so it doesn't really matter. Lynn very happy that his 5th objective has been cleared now. So he just doesn't know where the other ones are. He's already on Rycross, he's already done Anger Tower, Strength Tower, he's probably going to finish up Courage, then he won't have to go to Rycross. That means the only places left that he would need to go would be Air Castle and finish up Matavia. Probably still wondering where that Hydrofoil is. Cap's not going to be happy that Curran was a dud. Curran did have another Amber Eye for him, though, so who knows? However, one of the trade-ins for the Amber Eye is actually in the town of Turinko, which is an island town, which you need the Hydrofoil to get to. So that trade-in in Turinko actually gives Guard Mail, which is the armor for Alice and Rika. So he may be holding on to those, but without the Hydrofoil, he ain't getting there. Where could the Hydrofoil be? I wonder. Also, Rika using 2 claws. Oh yes, I love double claw Rika, but I also know, especially with vanilla strats, that single claw... Shields are actually very underrated in this game. Shields are really, really good. Especially if you know how to work them. Yeah, exactly, MTI. So there's all the bosses here have their own stat pools. Every enemy has the same stat lines, or excuse me, stats. And all the locations in this randomizer kind of record what that boss in vanilla normally had, and transfers it to a new boss when it's randomized. So Dark Force 1 here has basically the stats of Devar, so really high. And everybody turn up your music. We have our Lord and Savory. We have the King Rappy. Very, very... Everyone loves the board. I love the bird. And Lynn, you better be dancing right now. This is dance music. I'm actually going to turn this music up because I love this music. No, I don't like that. I'm hearing myself now. I love King Rappy, and So in Videla, when you fight King Rappy, it's actually just normal boss music. However, I thought Tone of the Pond would actually fit this bird really, really well. And I always say, if you're playing with this randomizer and you get to King Rappy, you got to start dancing. So remember what I was saying about the triplets basically being a free fight in Current? Well, all of King Rappy's abilities scale with attack and strength on here. So while the strength stat's not high in Courage Tower, the attack's still fair. So it's still not a free fight, but the mental stat is what's scary in Courage Tower. So when you start seeing bosses like Rephase or Lashik, even Zeo can actually pose a real threat here. Dark Force 2, oh, Dark Force 2, you don't want to see here. Because Shadow Breath will one-shot just about anybody, no matter what level you are. That's how strong the scaling can be. But we do love our board here. King Rappy is weak to fire. So if you have fire weapons, they're actually going to be doing more damage than even your ultimate weapons. Good to know anyway. And the bird's down. My brethren, rest in pieces. And just at the same time that Lyn finishes up Dark Force 1. Alright, so in the meantime, that looks like Lyn has finished up Raycross. Cap is not quite finished up. Is he going to go ahead and do Courage Tower next? He's seeing that Strength Tower was it. So we're going to see Lyn right now. He looks like he's going Air Castle at this point, which is actually a good routing. So he saved, quit, reloaded, and is now in Air Castle. So I did remove the first set of barriers for Air Castle, so you actually save a lot of time by not having to walk around it. The second set, though, you still need to fight the boss for. So, let's say, Lyn? What are you doing? I didn't know what Lyn was doing first. I was like, there's no encounters out there. So, while this is going on, Alisal, welcome back. I think I heard that. No, I didn't. Okay. Anyways, so we have Lyn going through Air Castle right now, going through the lower parts of this. Normally, this is where the triplets would normally be. It is a minor boss. Oh, that's right. I was going to talk about minor bosses versus major bosses. So there are two different boss pools in this game, separated into minor, which consist of some of the weaker bosses in the game, as well as normal monsters that you can just find. Like Fanbite earlier, I turned into a normal boss. Minor boss. Then you have major bosses, your Dark Forces, Lashik, the Devars, Rephase, Salus, Dark Falls, your major story elemental bosses. Actually, the triplets are now actually considered, I believe I put them in the major category as well, as Zeo. And it looks like we have some Dark Marauders here. So these can be insta-killed. However, this is an extremely high mental spot, and all of the instant death attacks that Seth has scale with mental. So it compares the attacker's mental versus the defender's mental, and basically there is no chance that these explodes or death spells would hit, just because of that. There are a couple instant death abilities that scale off dexterity. Death, which is what Alice has with her slasher, and Eliminate, both Han and Rika's Eliminate, also scale off dexterity. They scale off dexterity and use, trying to think how that works. Gosh darn it, I don't remember how it works. Either way, those are basically your two best options. Another one is if you get a mechanical enemy here, you can use Spark to get rid of them, because the save for Spark is Strength. So, I wish I remembered half these stats. It's been so long since I've actually looked at the code, and probably because I've been very, very busy. I do, however, I am going to say that I am in the process of looking at Archipelago support for this. So I am looking at some code, and I am keeping my fingers crossed that we're going to start seeing Phantasy Star 4 Profound Distortion in multi-world. definitely keep my
Hey.
fingers crossed for that.
Hey, Ari. VH Zero here. I'm picking up for Allie.
Awesome. Hello, V Agent Zero.
How you holding up?
I am holding up my water right now. Oh, how am I holding up? Not what am I holding up. I'm holding up well. How are you, friendo?
Just getting things fired up over on my side. Figure it's probably been a quick minute, so if you have maybe 30 seconds, I thought I'd maybe plug a couple incentives.
Oh, yes, go right ahead.
All right, so we still have Let's Tap It, upgrade to Tap Runner 100%. We're at $27 out of $175. And then I also want to point out some bid wars that we have open. There are still a couple of bid wars for the Gartic phone games. Taking a quick look at those. Bear with me just a moment. I see there's still a wide open board on the round 3 games. So if you want to influence that, and a donation of any amount will get your choice in the lead. The Let's Tap It category select between first and third person has third person in the lead with $5 to first person 0. And then for the Gartic Phone round 2 game, we have Secret in the lead with $20. Nothing else has money toward it yet, so you can absolutely be the person that starts pushing things in whatever direction you care to. Plenty of things to go for. Of course, all the donations go directly to Take This.
Absolutely, thank you very much. So now we have both of them in Air Castle, so they're very close, neck and neck. Lynn's a little bit ahead, I would say, right now, because he is a boss ahead, and also the objective ahead, because the Castle Guard also, we have him separate into the Castle Ruler, which is the final boss of here, and Castle Guard, which is the mini boss. Castle Guard was an objective, and Cap is going to be very thrilled once he sees that. They also are probably thinking that this is a hat trick seed. So a hat trick seed is a term that the community uses for seeds that are required to have completed Air Castle, Soldier's Island, and Grobrook Tower, which are the 3 most annoying places to go through. And because of that, and because they know I'm kind of out for blood today, they're probably thinking at this point that it's going to be hat trick. They can't go to Soldier's Island, though, without the Hydrofoil, which neither of them have yet. So Salu's normally here is the guardian of the Courage Tower, and he does have a mechanic where if he is actually attacked with a physical attack, he's going to counter with Legion. And unfortunately, that's what we're going to see the entire time, is just nothing but Legion, which is the strongest ability that Salus can actually produce. It's not doing enough damage to really worry about a Guard Rod. They do have a Guard Rod, so they could be using that to heal, but they also have 2 healers, so it's not like it's going to have any... that they're going to have any issue with that. And... it looks like Cap's going to finish this off as well. So that means after this, all of their checks remaining are going to be on Matavia. I believe, and I haven't seen what they have yet, they still need to go through Biolab. Biolab and Birth Valley are locked by the Alshling. They have access to the plate system. I believe they both have the Valhalla key as well. Actually, I don't know if they got the Valhalla key. Actually, yes, I did say they have the Valhalla key. It's the plate key, I think, there. That they are missing, if I recall correctly. They are not... Tracking's hard. Tracking is hard, my friends.
Tracking and commentary at the same time is definitely a challenge.
Definitely. I'm not tracking for them. So they do have the Valhalla key that was in Passageway. They're tracking for themselves.
My mistake.
The Valhalla key was in Passageway, so they both have that. The plate key was in Gumbius, they both have that. So they both have both keys. And the only thing is they can't get into Valhalla without the Hydrofoil. So their options right now, they have basically after this, the only spot they have left to go is the plate system. Because everywhere else they need to go, they need the Hydrofoil. Except for Biolab, which they need the Alshling for. So at this point, they only have the one spot. And it's going to be basically, they're probably seeing this is turning into a fetch quest at this point. And from there, where do you go? Castle Guard was an objective, but not the Castle Ruler. The Castle Ruler had scrap metal, basically. It was a titanium slasher, so it essentially was scrap metal. As we, in the Z1R community, I believe that's what they call the bloomerang, is the scrap metal.
Might as well be.
Right. So we have Salu's over here on Cap's side, and Lynn is going to the plate system. So nothing really, there's no bosses in plate system, nothing really to worry about. It's a mid-level area for monsters, but it's like nothing they can't get through at this stage of the game. They may try and grind out a few levels. I know Lynn has a call flute. I don't think Cap does, but there is a shop in Terme that sells pipes, so the escape pipe, the telepipe, and a call flute as well. That's a guaranteed one. Crystals are sold in the bakery in Ieto. That's guaranteed as well. And there's the Alchling. So here's where the fetch question is going at this point. It's got the Alchling. That opens up basically 2 checks at this point. Birth Valley and Bioplant. They're both located within the town of Zima. So normally you get the Alchling, it would trigger a cutscene, but you actually have to use it here. You use it, triggers this little cutscene. Not all of it, just enough to say, hey, everybody's turned back from stone. So it basically opens a town, a few shops, and it also unlocks the dungeon. So when I programmed this, I kind of had to reverse things a little bit, because normally when you first come to this, everyone's turned to stone, the shops are closed, but the dungeon's open, or at least Birth Valley. Here, if you don't have the Alchling, the dungeon's also closed, but when you use it, it's open. Picking up a laser barrier there. So laser barrier, while it doesn't do it in vanilla, actually casts barrier as a spell. So if you actually don't have anybody who can mitigate or can cast a magic mitigation spell, laser barrier is going to be your go-to. Not as strong, but it's better than nothing.
Do you mind if I ask a question?
Yes, go right ahead.
So, I'm kind of trying to get caught up here. If I were someone who was interested in this randomizer and hadn't played all the way through Phantasy Star 4 before, I'm just kind of curious. I imagine, with all the exceptions and new item placement and things like that. Do you have like a website or a good reference for folks to look up?
I do have a website. I can probably try and pull that up real quick. While I'm pulling it up, if you have any donations or anything you want to say, go right for it.
Absolutely. Still waiting for next donation, but I would definitely be happy to point you to just a few quick pieces of information. So, as you're aware, donations all go to Take This, but of course, you might also want to find out about our merch shop. Where, from what I understand, we have a brand new logo and lots of wonderful items to choose from, a lot of choices that I'm very excited about. I just need to search through that myself. And then, of course, also, there is the prize list. And I'd be happy to go over one or two of the wonderful prizes you could get entered in to win with a donation of any amount. On Friday, we have the limited edition, excuse me, am I on the right Friday? Yes, I am. The limited edition Psychomancer pin from that provided graciously by Take This. We have the Hollow Knight vinyl decal from Waffle Crone, which is really gorgeous. The Dragon Quest framed oil painting, and I might be missing. Let me see if I'm reading this right. Oh, you donated this.
Mm-hmm. I painted it and donated it.
Oh yeah, you gotta get a chance to enter and to win that. That is a one-of-a-kind piece. You would really love it. And then for those of us who are more in the gaming direction, there is a VVV Steam key, which you'll have the opportunity to check that game out later tonight. But if you can't wait, it's right there waiting for you. And all of those prizes are available to you for any donation today, Friday, and any donation during the entire marathon will get you an opportunity to be entered to win the grand prizes, which include the Trans Rights Custom Game Boy Advance by Casual Geek Dave, and the Gears of War board game donated by Take This as well. So definitely get your donations in. A lot of good things to put your money toward, both physical and otherwise.
All right, so a lot just happened there. So when Lynn got the Alshlene out of plate system, went to plate system, cleared that. In the biolab was a double header for him. He got both an objective and a hydrofoil. So Cap's going to be very happy with that as well. And this is where we're going to start seeing a little bit of divergent, possibly. So they're probably going to both want to check the shorter remaining checks as first before daring to do Soldier's Island. We saw Lynn go to Valhalla for it and get basically nothing out of it, no objective. And now Lynn's going to Rappy Cave, and there is a major boss there, but nothing too concerning. Lynn's gonna be happy to get his hydrofoil and 7th objective. And at this point, there's a rephase. So while it does look scary here, it's not really that bad. Although with randomized abilities, it very well could be. The only attack that rephase does is Magid. However, Rappy Cave's boss has a very low mental stat. Magid scales with mental. Nothing really concerned here. However, its normal attack has the same animation as Magid and scales with attack, so that could happen. So now we have to figure out who is going where and who's going to get the objective first. If Cap follows the same route, he's going to Termi, so I'm guessing he's going to do Rappy Cave first. So that was that for Lynn. There's only one check left, so even though we didn't meet the incentive, just because of the way routing is, we're getting 100% full clear here. Because Lynn just opened up, he's groaning right now. He's realizing I gave them a hat trick seed.
Rando gonna rando.
Rando gonna rando. I can't help it, but I gave them a not a full hat trick because they didn't necessarily need to go all the way through Air Castle. But where it's Wonder, they don't know what it is. So there's only one objective left to go through for Lynn. Cap's gonna go to Rappy Cave first, and in all honesty, if I was doing the routing, that's my thought as well. Rappy Cave and Valhalla both have much easier bosses to go through. While Soldier's Island is not a long dungeon to go through, the boss, the stats are the highest for HP, strength, attack, and mental. So all of the stats are the strongest in Soldier's Temple, or at the top of Soldier's Island. So nobody wants to see any boss there. And they both know, or Lynn knows at this point, this is the last objective. There's nothing else here. And he'll be happy to know. Yeah. Once he does this, the edge will open up, and that'll be, but who's the boss? Who do we have the pleasure of fighting? Davars. This actually could get ugly. So,
I don't think that would make a very good sitcom, or am I just making a joke that befits my being way too old?
You might be. That's going way over my head.
Who's the boss? Yeah, that was old when I was a kid.
Oh,
sorry.
Tony Danza. Help me. So, who is the boss? No, so Davars. So the good news about Davars is none of his attacks scale with mental. He's got 2 attacks really, and one of them is an AoE attack that whenever he's hit with a technique or a skill, he's going to counter with Disrupt Arm. Disrupt Arm does scale with attack power, however, he's very much buffed right now with defensive items right now that it's doing 1 damage. And it does, Disrupt Arm actually just is a flat AoE damage. It doesn't have any power to it, because all abilities have a power that they add to the damage calculation as well as scaling with a certain stat. And Disrupt Arm actually has a 0 power, so it's basically that stat with some RNG. So Davars actually isn't that dangerous here if you can manipulate the strategy. And again, basically you will probably want at least one character to use a skill or a technique, and it will automatically counter with Disrupt Arm. And as long as you do that, this really doesn't pose any risk. So Lynn is happy with that. Cap is going to Valhalla thinking that this boss, it's an easy, and again, I would do the same thing. That would be my strategy as well. Take out the weaker bosses and go from there. both of them are going to end up hundoing the seed, getting a hat trick, and to be fair, I honestly can't wait for both of them to tell me what their thoughts are of this seed at the end of it. That being said, at the same time, anybody who plays Phantasy Star 4 as a speedrun or casually, or even Randomizer, knows that Profound Darkness, the final boss, is the great equalizer. And the last Speedrun Ragnarok, I raced Captain Canada in this, and I got to the final boss first. And at the end of it, I took an extra canceling, and he didn't. And canceling is another thing I'll talk about later. And what ended up happening was because I had to rebuff because of it, Cap was able to pull out ahead of me. So at this point, Cap's looking as like hat trick seed. Curse you, Aerie. I am being cursed right now. I can hear it all the way from lovely Canada. And Lynn takes down Devars. Easy peasy, gets a Molly dagger for it, which is Seth's strongest weapon. And Lynn's like, thank Jesus, my lord and savory. It's done. He's gonna check the treasure here to see what's in here. So Soldier's Island actually has 2, and the other one being Silver Tusk, which is Rika's strongest weapon. So we have 2 weapons here that will definitely help improve damage at this point. They've done every check in the game, so even though we didn't meet the incentive, it was just because of the way the route goes. If any of them had gone to Soldier's Island first, it wouldn't have been 100% seed. Rando's gonna rando. But as you can see, with 2 of the best skilled players without a vehicle to start, they're still edge diving in less than an hour and a half. And they're at full clear, you get around level 40, 41. Safe level for the most part to go into PD, or to Profound Darkness. And shoutouts to Xandra for the raid. Thank you so much for raiding.
If you don't mind, I got a couple donations to read.
Absolutely, go right for it.
All right, I have a $15 donation from Kaishura, who says, for the cheap price of $15, I will use your safe for work prompt for Gartic Phone, or attempt to anyway. And that donation went to the Let's Tap It, upgrade to Tap Runner 100%, and selecting Knockoff as the round 3 game for Gartic Phone. We also have a $5 donation from an anonymous donor, but we thank you very much, who says, take my money for a good cause. And puts that $5 toward the upgrade to Tap Runner 100% and the round 3 game of Compliment for Gartic Phone. Of course, those Gartic Phone incentives are going to be open until the end of this run, so get your donations in, and you can still tip the scales on what the Valks play.
Thank you very much, and thank you for those donations, all going towards a wonderful cause and to probably make us not suffer. We're going to have a great time at Gartic Phone. I guarantee it. It's going to be a blast. You're not going to want to miss that either. Lynn coming up on the final boss here, Profound Darkness. So Profound Darkness has 3 phases, and each one of them more deadly than the last. Phase 1 is not too dangerous. It only uses single target attacks. So here's one thing about it. Nothing gets changed with Profound Darkness in Randomizer. Not its stats, not its abilities, nothing. Why did I do that? That's a question for future, mate. I don't know why. So, probably because if I change any of the stats at all, this boss would be really, really a lot more difficult. Phase 1 only uses single target attacks. This is your best time to get all your buffs up. You want your speed, you want your magic barrier. You don't necessarily need regular defense, but it helps, especially if you have weaker armor. Shadow Breath's going to hurt really bad. So it is still possible to get one shot by some of the attacks, but it's nothing that's going to wipe your party. That comes in phases 2 and 3, that you could have party wipes. So even though Lynn has a fairly comfortable lead right now, he's a full dungeon ahead, full boss ahead, it's not over. This boss here can really make or break the game. However, he does have an agility buff going right now, so there shouldn't be any chance that the boss will outturn him. However, when we reach phase 3, that all that goes out the window. The good news is Seth is pretty tanky, so even with unmitigated attack, Seth should be able to survive. However, that doesn't help a whole lot if everybody else dies, and everybody else is pretty squishy. And CC is now happy with his seeing that it's like, that's my last objective, don't need it. He didn't even check the test for the Silver Tusk. He's probably thinking he's really far behind at this point. And, which, again, a Found Darkness, great equalizer. We saw a phase shift here, so each of the phases actually have, the first phase has 8,000 HP, the second phase has 9,000-ish, give or take a little bit. When they reach 50% health is when they transition. Same, but phase 2 starts dealing the AoE damage, and it starts using another gate, which has one of the highest attack values. Excuse me, one of the highest power values to add into things. So even if I change some of the mental stat, that could possibly wipe out an entire team. And I have seen another gate wipe out parties before. Lashik also uses it. And it is technically the same, as coded for the same on both of them. And this is where we're going to start seeing a lot of healing. And if Cap uses a similar strategy, then because Rika for Lyn actually has the Silver Tusk, Rika's going to be doing 1.5 times damage with Rika compared to Lyn, who's not going to be doing nearly as much with physical attacks. So you're going to basically heal. I do know that the Ataraxia skill is in play, so Ataraxia is the only way in this game you can actually restore your technique points. It's scales with the user's mental stats, so the stronger your mental stat, the more you're going to heal. So here Lyn is going into phase 3, Cap's going into phase 1 right now. So this is where things get spicy. Turn 1, Profound Darkness is always going to use Magid, and it is going to hurt. And hopefully they have enough magic defense mitigation. I did see a lot of guard equipment out. And so it hurt, but it's not bad. It's manageable. So he's going to macro. Basically, he's going to be reacting to Magid with that macro. And it's going to save a lot of time. It's going to cast Naysar, that everyone's going to just attack. Evil Eye on Demi. Demi is immune to status effects because she's an android. Seth also has a resistance to it as well. So Lyn has a macro for an all-out attack. And sees that, switch it up, let's go. He's probably going to macro for a single target attack as well. Another Magid to Lyn at that point. And going to switch up to that Naysar macro. Naysar is an AoE heal. And because we're on classes, Demi is also healed by it. So that is not the case if the abilities are just randomized, but it is the case for classes. And there's a single target attack. Macros for single target healing, will always target the character in your party with the lowest percentage of total HP. So if they took a single target attack and everybody is high up, then it'll target them. So here is the butt clencher here. Canceling. Canceling, followed by an instant Magid, has wiped out more speedrunners than for this game than anybody would like to admit. Canceling removes all your buffs, and that includes your agility buffs. So you need to get your barrier up ASAP at that point. You don't need your agility up right off the bat. You need barrier up first in order to withstand Magid if that comes up.
Oh, geez.
Because unmitigated, Magid will wipe that party out.
And that agility buff means you're that much more likely to take that straight off Magid, right?
Now, the agility buff basically means you'll be able to outturn to be able to heal next turn before it uses Magid again. So you still want agility up, but it's not the first thing you want up. You want your barrier up before it has a chance to cast Magid.
Just seems like a brutal one too.
We call it the Wombo combo. It's true in vanilla, it's true in randomizer, and it's deadly in both cases. It's more punishing in vanilla because in rando you can save your game right before the final boss. And if you choose to enable it, there are higher challenge rating seeds where it's actually turned off, and you can only save outside of dungeons. I think Lyn has done like a challenge rating 99, which is like one of the highest ones I've seen yet. So Rika did get stunned there. So one thing about being put to sleep and stun effects is that you actually lose your agility buff when you wake up. So Rika's not a healer, so she doesn't necessarily need it, but you definitely want your healers to have that agility buff up. You got Ataraxia because our Nasar caster is running low. Geisar and a Guard Rod actually work out pretty good to get a full heal on the party. We see Cap actually coming on to PD3 as well. Oh, what was that outturn? Oh, that's right. Rika was the single target healer, so where she lost her agility buff. And that's time for Lynn. Lynn Carius with the W here at, looks like 1 hour 33 and some change. I'm going to go ahead and mute him. Lynn, Lynn, you there?
GG.
Yes, I am.
GG,
Wow.
Congratulations.
That
How
was
much
a very-
how much do you hate me?
that was a fun seed. I'm not gonna lie. And
Well, you got the HUD. Ooh, canceling on Cap. So he was basically one behind you at that point. You both once you got out of Air Castle, you basically followed a very similar route. There wasn't much. The beginning was very divergent between the two of you, but you basically started connecting around Rycross, and we were just one dungeon ahead, but he was like right behind you the entire time. And when you got the Hydrofoil, you went to Valhalla, and then you went to Rappy. Cap went to Rappy and then Valhalla, but you both needed to. But it didn't cross your mind that I could have potentially given you a hat trick seed.
that
Oh,
was
Cap
when
got womboed. Cap got
when I was
womboed.
going to that last dungeon. I'm like, hat trick. It's got to be a hat trick.
You know I was out for blood today.
Oh no!
So Cap got womboed there. 3 characters survived, so that's actually good. He does have a chance to recover from this, but I don't know if he got Sander off or not, as well as I don't think he's got enough healing. Kira was a conjurer, Rika was a druid, so Rika does have some healing, but okay, that was a little bit luck, but Kira still died there.
Yeah.
So you like this seed, huh?
Well, I got to do my ever so famous early anger.
I was saying the whole time, I was like, that's got some guts, and it paid off because you had a fan bite, and Cap eventually went there as well very early, and you Cap ran into more spiral blades than you did, so there was that.
Yeah. I'm like, I just need one no spiral blade, and I've got some levels again.
Yeah,
Someone's not taking levels, but it was a risk.
Both you lost Kira to that one. I'm like, poor Kira. On the bright side, Demi comes through like always. This is hashtag Team Demi. We love Demi here.
I was so worried in the beginning though, because I went on foot to Tono and back. I'm like, oh, I felt so far behind.
Yeah, Cap actually Cap had went to Piata first, and then before going to Tono, when he had Highness and Ryuka for escaping and teleporting. And so he did have that on there, and it's like you didn't. I was thinking the entire time I didn't say it, but I was like, was there not any telepipes available as well? It's like
I did not find one in any of the shops.
I made you walk. So even though I made you walk, I gave you kind of a rough start, and I put the Hydrofoil and the Ice Digger in kind of really tough locations.
Ice Digger was nervous, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you still got a 133.
Oh yeah, that was
still
pretty good
very
time
well
for
under
Wonder
estimate.
Seed.
Yeah, and the thing is, Cap can still go underestimate here. We got a 150 estimate for here, and you got a 133.16. Cap's still going at 136 right now. Cap can still finish this. It's about an 8 to 10 minute fight all around, unless you got some really good damage. Here's the kicker, though. Cap didn't pick up the Silver Tusk. You did.
Oh, I'm like, you know what? I'm already here. I know
it's the last item. You knew what it was.
I fade Curran more than anything, and that was my last ditch spot. I'm like, if I don't have Silver Tusk here, I'm just leaving it and going.
Yeah, Curran is. Wait, did you not go to Curran?
Nope, I skipped it completely.
Okay, so that was not 100. So basically, that is where you diverge. Captain did go to Curran. So
Yeah,
that was
Curran's
the,
usually one of my last to go to just because of the length of the walk.
that was the difference maker right there then, because Curran just had an Amber Eye.
Yep.
And I think, let me take a look at the boss real quick of Curran. That was just triplets. So it wasn't a tough boss, and it wasn't really worth it. But that was that's why he was always like a dungeon behind you, because he did go to Curran.
Okay.
But as you were clearing up the Air Castle guard, he was just getting into Air Castle. And so it was just like, it just kept... he was right on your tail that time. If it weren't... Well, at least we're getting 100% seed here.
Yeah.
That is a lot of mouse and tower. Can you imagine feeding all that? Well, go ahead, Lynn.
I've completely derailed. You're good.
I do that. I derail a lot of things.
Speaking of derailing, if I can jump in with a quick donation.
Good job at that.
We've got a $5 donation from Possum Coffee. Thank you very much. With no comment, but puts that $5 toward the Let's Tap It upgrade to Tap Runner 100%. And sends a little bit of love to Compliment for the round 3 Gartic Phone game. Still just a little bit of time in if you want to tip the scales on the Gartic Phone games bid wars. So get your donations in right now. Don't wait, because the donation delay might catch up with you.
Absolutely. And so now we're getting on to phase 3 for Cap again. And let's hope for no wombo combo this time. So gonna hit everything. And again, like I mentioned before, Profound Darkness does lead off with McGee every time. And from there, who knows? The ability, or Profound Darkness's abilities are not randomized, despite all abilities being randomized for enemies in this game. Again, the reason why, ask me in a few months, and I'll give you an answer that will probably still not make sense.
He's mean enough as it is.
Oh, and wow, that's an early canceling. He planked. Okay. He planked to run, and he ran again. And Kira got one shot, and I think Cap's just giving up at this point. He's like, run. He ran 3 times in a row and didn't get McGee after that. Okay, he wants the wombo. I think Cap's throwing in the towel, and it still didn't kill everybody.
Oh no.
No, I think Cap's had enough. Shall we bring him in? I think I should end his suffering. Cap.
Hi.
I see you. I thought you blinked for a minute.
No. I'm just entirely done with that.
Oh, so you did not like that seed then?
Oh my god, I got screwed by RNG that entire time.
At least you didn't walk to Tono and back.
Yeah,
I went into Zeos Fort 3 times.
I walked all the way to Tono basement and back. Zima.
Here's the thing, Cap. You were not far behind.
We were in PD at the same time.
Okay, where were you when I got womboed?
He was finishing up. Actually, I think he had just finished when you got womboed.
Yeah, probably about 30 seconds after he finished.
Yeah,
it was a close one.
The big difference.
I was getting outturned that entire fight, and I was like thinking to myself, "This isn't good. I'm gonna get womboed," and just canceling after canceling, and it just happened.
Yeah,
I took one extra fan bite fight.
The big difference maker, I think, though, you were just one step behind Lynn for most of the game. Lynn did not hit Curran, you did. And that was basically the difference maker right there. You did do a full clear, but...
I full cleared.
But you know something? We didn't meet the incentive anyway, so we still didn't get 100% run out of this whole thing, so hey. Yay. Did it not occur to you, though, at all, Cap, that I might have been giving you a hat trick seed? Because you knew I was out for blood.
It was on the back of my mind, but I was trying not to meta myself.
Okay. Because you were afraid I would have pulled the Uno reverse card on you. And
I was trying not to meta, and I was just trying to clear it systematically, like planet by planet, just in what made the most sense to me, and trying to gain levels at the same time. And yeah.
Yeah. I did my early anger.
That
Me
was
too.
best. You both did anger pretty early, and
I went level
Although
6
I
and
had
level
to-
1.
all
I
things
had to
considered,
reset the fight like 9 times.
all things considered, despite both you having to walk because I was making you walk, and basically almost 100% this seed, both of you were still at PD at an hour and a half. And
How about that hydrofoil location?
Right?
I knew you'd love that one. I knew that
I don't
you.
like it.
I saw that list and I'm like, oh, this is quite the fetch quest we got going on here. They're gonna love it.
Yeah, no, I 0 to 10 would not recommend.
But yeah, and yet Lynn gives it. It's like Siskel Lieber here. One thumb up, one thumb down.
Well, GG's, Lynn.
But I think that's going to do it for us today. I'm going to probably say we're all set here at this point. We do have Gartic Phone coming up, and we got to get that set up. Anything the two of you want to say before we sign off?
GG's indeed, Commodore. And catch you on the
GGs.
next one.
Absolutely. We'll have to have a grudge match. And thank you, everybody, for letting me be part of this. Thank you for coming and showing support to this awesome cause. And see you guys next time.
Indeed.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. And we will be right back with Gartic Phone here on Speedrun Ragnarok 2023.